Focus is more on family. I want to spend more time with them, try to do whatever I can for my parents, including my in-laws. So, because I think part of the success that I have so far, not that much actually, it is actually attributed by the support system that I have. And
Hi and greeting everyone. Welcome to the 4th ILSA's International Virtual Conference on Learning and Development, Iclad 2020. Special for Iclad 2020 participants, every afternoon we will be having a coffee session with an inspiring person who will share their story, secrets, experience and achievement in their life. By the way, my name is IR Bibi Hazrina, and today with me is a very special person. He's one of the leaders in the emerging world of renewable energy, and we are very happy to have you today, IR Muhammad Yusrizal bin Muhammad Yusuf.
Yep, thank you. Please call me Yus, by the way.
Okay, Yus. So thank you for being with us today. We are so happy and delighted to have you with us. And we are looking forward to hear pearls of wisdom from you. And
Okay, inshallah.
Inshallah. Okay, so maybe we'll start with yourself. Maybe you can tell us a little bit about yourself and also the company you are managing right now, which is TNB Renewables.
Okay. So as I mentioned, please call me Yus. I've been with TNB for 20 years this year. Joined TNB in year 2000, PEP 8. My first assignment was in TNBES. Then I was assigned to System Planning Department, single buyer. And what's even more interesting is actually this particular subsidiary, TNB Renewables, was a brainchild that we coined, I think the team coined during reimagining TNB back in 2016. And also, Alhamdulillah, I think I've been exposed to renewable energy quite early. We are talking about 20 years ago, in year 2000, when renewable energy is just solar adoption in off-grid village, orang asli village, in off-grid islands, very small islands. And I was also part of the team which connects the first landfill gas power generation grid connected. So that actually gives me quite a lot of exposure and knowledge in terms of renewable and as well as investments. Being in single buyer, being in system planning last time exposed me to the grid requirement, to how a power plant works and supply power to the grid. So all this combined and being in the right team allows me to be in this position. I might not be the best of all, but I think I do have that slight advantage of being exposed to very early to renewable energy.
So for the people out there, regular folks like us, what are the three terms or three words that you think everybody should know about when it comes to renewable energy?
Interesting. I'll give you 3 alphabets.
Okay, 3 alphabets. All right.
TRE. TNB Renewables. Jokes aside, but renewable energy is about being efficient, because renewable energy is very cost sensitive. So if you don't do your business efficiently, then you will not be able to strive. For example, we already have 2 large solar assets in TNB Sepang Solar and TNB Bukit Selambau Solar, which we secured through the large-scale solar bidding process by Suruhanjaya Tenaga. So if this were to be operated with the similar approach to us operating thermal plants, then you would have one team in TNB Sepang Solar, one team in TNB Bukit Selambau Solar. You will have a separate MD, you will have a separate CFO, you will have totally, the traditional setup. So what we did for this, and credit to learnings that we obtained from our international business, from our UK business. The way we operate this is, there's no team in the company, there's no staff in the company. We are operating it through services, asset management services provided by TNB Renewables. We get TNEC to be the operator, O&M operator through a contract. So we'll be able to ensure the cost efficiency, cost control, as well as making sure that we maintain the cost discipline. So that's one, cost. Number two, things are changing so much. So we are using technology to assist us in this operation. For example, for the both plants that I mentioned, and even for our biomass and biogas plants coming soon, we will have what we call as data analytics and remote monitoring. For example, in the solar plants, we make decision for solar panel washing through analytics, whether we need to clean it or we don't. The computer will, the program will look at the performance of the solar panels in terms of output, and at the same time we also integrate weather forecasting into that. And then if, let's say, we are looking at potentially having rain within 2-3 hours time, then the analytics will prompt to us that there's no need for washing, because eventually this afternoon there will be rain. So we're talking about back to cost saving. We're talking about having a very efficient data-based decision making, as well as having better controls on the information that's available around us. So cost, technology, and number three is we need to make sure that we have the best people around us. That's very important, because it's our staff or the people who will drive this business eventually.
Okay. Very interesting. Something really new and fresh, especially in terms of the business model, and also the application of technology in running the business, and also running your assets. Okay, let's go back to the question that we talked about before, which is about having a business perspective when managing an organization. So you mentioned that having an MBA has helped you to lead better. And I think right now the current trend is to have employees or business owners to actually have not only technical knowledge, but you must also have the financial and the business savviness in their work. So for you personally, how do you manage an organization in terms of business growth, and how do you apply that type of intelligence in your professional work?
Okay. I think having that perspective, a business perspective, is very important, because we are running a business, and perhaps having technical focus is good, but if we are too technically inclined, we would tend to be tend to secure the most advanced technology, tend to disregard the amount of money that we need to spend over the technological requirement. So, for example, if you are talking about technology that you need to generate electricity from renewable sources, There's always new improvements in the technology, but do you focus on the technology alone, or you balance the two to make sure that you can continue to be competitive in the business? You need to take a lot of considerations. Number one, the status of the technology. It might be the latest technology, but that latest technology might not be ready for pure commercial implementation. So that's very important. Having that approach and the overall bird's eye view of the decision helps us to be competitive and to make sure that we are always on par with the competitors in the market. So you talk about renewable energy, especially solar. You look at it's not really a rocket science business. A lot of people can come into the business. I think the barrier to entry is very, very low. So almost A, B, C, Tom, Dick and Harry would like to come into the business because it seemed easy. It seemed very straightforward. And I think few days back, I read somewhere, Shell is actually focusing to become one of the largest, or if not the largest, electricity producer in the world by 2030. Okay. So and it's not being the largest by having thermal generation. Okay. It's by having green renewable energy generation. So we need to have this balance because we are running a business. You could be slightly inclined on the technical if you are doing research, if you are doing specific what we call as direct technical works, but having that business intelligence helps for us to be in the business.
But this business intelligence, does it have to be at every layer in the organization, or only after you reach a certain stage in the career span of a person?
I think it needs to be at all level. It's just probably the understanding and the how in depth you are in the understanding. But let's say even for technician, it's very important for technicians or the young engineers, entry-level engineers, to understand, if I do this using option A, these are the repercussions to cost, to the time, and to the total productivity, as opposed to option B. So you want to fix something, this option costs you 2 ringgit, this option costs you 5 ringgit, but this 5 ringgit could probably bring it to the system immediately, as opposed to this 2 ringgit which will come in tomorrow. So you need to balance this. So having that commercial sense is very important.
Well, do you think we have that right now, or we need to do a lot of efforts to actually change the mindset of the current working force?
I think as a leader, that's what it is your responsibility to do. To basically ask questions so that people are aware, okay, this is going to be us. So by doing that all the time, people are going to appreciate more. And being an engineer is not about just being an engineer. Being an engineer, eventually you are involved in a business. So that understanding needs to happen at all levels.
Okay. So what kind of leadership style do you think you are? I mean, you talk about having to encourage people to learn new skills and having new sets of competency. For example, like financial literacy that we talked about just now. So in your own personal capacity, what kind of leadership style do you apply when you want to build the competency of your workforce? You're not only focusing on yourself, you're not only focusing on improving yourself, but also at the same time you are trying to make things better for other people. So it's kind of like giving back to community and contributing to a bigger cause than our own self.
Yes, yes. And I think that goes very much in line with the direction that we have now in TNB. In the new corporate identity, we have just established the purpose. So having that purpose guides us on where we want to go next. So it gives you a bigger motivation and a different way of looking, rather than just coming to work to get paid, get money, get bonus, get shares, but coming to work in trying to fulfill a bigger reason of our existence.
Okay guys, so as usual, we will be having our rapid fire question session now with Yus. So the game goes like this: we'll be asking Yus 5 questions, and he has to answer as quickly as possible with whatever comes to his head, the first word that comes to his head. Okay? So no 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 and all that. So it's a rapid fire question with rapid fire answer.
Okay, sure, inshallah.
Okay, so are you ready for your first question? Okay, so the first question goes like this: if I have 1 billion in my account, I would use that money to?
Provide education to the needy.
Okay, that's a good cause. Okay, second question: if I have stuck to my childhood ambition, I would have been a?
Engineer.
Oh wow!
Always wanted to be a mechanical engineer. So.
Okay, and you achieve your ambition.
Yep.
Okay, let's go. Let's go. Okay, number 3. If I am to drive my dream car, that car would be?
Tesla.
Oh, Tesla. Okay, do you think there's any hope for Tesla to be brought into Malaysia?
Maybe a long shot, but I think the reality is I think electric mobility transportation will be the way in the future.
So let's hope. Okay, next question. When I need to energize and recharge, I would?
Sleep.
Sleep. Okay, nice. Okay, and the last one. One good thing the world really needs right now is?
An honest leader.
Ooh, okay. Honest leader. Okay, very interesting answer from Yus. So that's our rapid session question. And we'll continue again after this with more questions for Yus. In line with Iclad's theme this year, which is intelligence, the art of learning. So if you can suggest maybe a few types of intelligence that everyone should be looking into and start embracing, what would that be? What kind of intelligence do you think are important right now in the current market and current situation of the world and even in Malaysia?
I think one very glaring need is common sense. I think intelligence is about knowing. For me, I think it's about knowing when to apply knowledge that you have in the right situation, in the right way. So common sense is very important for everyone actually. In guiding your decision or guiding on your way of doing things. So if we are faced or we are tasked to do something, and you can't really appreciate or you can't really think of how or where to start, having good common sense will steer you to the point that you need to be at. So I think intelligence allow you to work with people better. Intelligence allow you to know where and how to apply knowledge that you have already obtained.
Okay, so common sense. Any other type of intelligence?
That would be the first one. Other than that, I think it is very important to be able to have people skill, to be street smart, because sometimes you are book smart. It's not terrible to be book smart, but it's also important to balance that book smart portion with street smart, and knowing how to communicate, knowing how to work in a team. So those are some of the important ones, I think.
That's one common phrase people always say is that the world is actually run by human beings and by people. So
Yes.
no matter how book smart you are, or technically well-versed you are, but at the end of the day, it's the people who actually move the world and make things happen, right? So
Exactly.
I agree with you that it's actually supported by a lot of people surrounding us, and always being our cheerleader and giving us encouragement to become a better version of ourselves.
Exactly.
So I think that's all the time we have for today. So I thank you very much for being with us today. I think all of us have learned a lot of things, not only about renewable energy, about running a business, but also about enriching our personal life. So thank you again.
Thank you.
I'm Muhammad Yusuf, Managing Director of TNB Renewable Sdn Bhd, a subsidiary of TNB in the industry of renewable energy.
Thank you very much.
So also thank you from me, RBB Hazrina, and thank you for being with us today, and stay tuned for more events from Iclad 2020.
Very good. Okay.